Should you pay your house off or should you just make minimum payments? I get this question a lot. I've talked with over 1,300 investors over the years. I get this around the Thanksgiving dinner table. Relatives are asking me, and it comes up a lot. So I wanted to address it. I've addressed it before. I'm addressing it again. I have a very strong opinion about this, that in general, you shouldn't pay your house off. And there are some specific reasons for that I think are very compelling. But there are some situations when it would make sense to pay your house off. So we're gonna get into that in 3 points, a great quote at the end. Stick around, let's do it. Okay, quick disclaimer, I'm not an investment advisor, I'm not your investment advisor, so get your own financial advice from a professional or make your own opinion. So why not just pay it off, Bronson? What's the big deal? Hey, I wanna pay my house off, I wanna pay my house off. Some people would say, yeah, it gives me a degree of comfort to know that my house is paid off. And I think if that's the case, that's great. You can pay your house off, that's fine. However, as an investment, it may not be the best investment decision. And I want to get into why that is. So right now, interest rates are still below actual inflation. So we're in a negative real interest rate environment. That means that current interest rates, even if they're 7%, typically my guess is on your house, if you own a house, you're typically in the 3 to 5% range unless you just bought it, but most people are in the 3 to 5% range. So if inflation is actually officially 6-7%, I think it's actually about 15%. They really fudge the number on inflation. So if it's actually about 15%, anything below that is you're getting a deal on your interest rate, right? So, likely that you have a low interest rate, the asset over time really becomes not the house, but it becomes the debt. It becomes the loan that you have on your house. So what I mean by that is if you have a 3% loan and inflation is at 10 or 15%, just hold that as long as you can because there's a lot of benefits there. It's basically that you used other people's money to buy the house, right? And the rate you're paying back that loan is very low. And so we know that the value of the house is going to be worth more due to inflation in 10, 20, 30 years. And so we know the value is going to go up. We also know the dollars that you are paying back with are going to be worth less the longer you take to pay them back. So if you just wait and you make minimum payments, it's going to be better because you're going to have more money that you are able to hold on to rather than paying it back into your house. So it's called inflation debt destruction, right? You're paying off with future dollars that are worth less than the asset appreciates. I get into this in a lot of detail in my ebook in the comments below about how to use inflation to your advantage. So that's kind of why I like just a very simple way of why it's good not to pay off debt. So what happens if you actually pay it off, right? What happens actually if you do? So let's say you owe $500,000 on your house and you pay it off instead of paying the 3% interest and the payment. Well, the good news is you don't have a mortgage payment anymore. Like you don't have to pay the money you were paying. Maybe it was a couple thousand or a few $1,000s a month or $1,000 a month, whatever that amount is. You still have to pay the taxes and the insurance, so you are still having to pay that, but you don't have the $500K. Right? So you're missing kind of all that money. So it's almost like you locked in a 3% return versus being able to use that money. Now, what could you have done with that money? Well, I calculated what would a $500K deal return over the next 25 years, assuming you have 25 years left on your mortgage, if you were able to put it into deals that you got a 15% return. And what I found is that investments would total, I don't know if you can see that, $3.2 million if you were to put it just, with no additional investment, you just put basically actually this isn't even correct. This is only at 100,000. So if I'm going to change it to 500,000 and I'm going to see what this says. This is probably going to be way higher. So I recalculate that. Now it says you have 16,400,000. So that was way off. So anyway, you would have much more money because you're investing at a higher rate. So it becomes an arbitrage, right? So you can pay it off due to security. Hey, I really want to feel better about it. But if you have the money, it's an arbitrage. You're borrowing at a lower amount and you're able to invest at a much higher amount. So, there are some situations I say when you should pay it off. Again, if you just are somebody that you really like having the security, maybe you have a lot of other money, you have $16 million sitting around somewhere else and you're like, hey, I don't need the money, which I don't know many people in that situation, but there are some situations people do it. There's also a situation where if your interest rate is higher than actual inflation. So let's say your interest rate gets to 10-15% and inflation is actually much lower, it could make sense to pay it off if you can't A, find a way to refinance, and B, you can't find other investing options that are higher than the rate that you're paying. So those are a couple things to think about. It's very unusual, and obviously we're not in that situation right now. But in general, this is a general thing that I say. I would say to not pay off the mortgage, to really allow yourself to have opportunity to have cash and invest in other deals. I want to share this quote with you from Robert Kiyosaki. I was just at a conference with him recently, and basically he says that good debt is a powerful tool, but bad debt can kill you, right? So credit card debt, not good. Home debt for an asset, which he would say an asset, the house you live in is not an asset, but this is a way you can actually take advantage of the house you live in if you own it. And actually, I want to share with you, I do something a little different. I actually rent in Los Angeles as a preferred to owning, and I want to get into why I do that and why I think it's a better financial decision for me. You can check that out up here. So check that out over there. Again, we own $200 million in real estate, but there's some really specific reasons why I choose to rent. And anyway, if you want to check out that ebook, How to Use Inflation to Your Advantage, check that out down below. Please smash that like button, and it will help other people find this video. Look forward to catching you on the next video. Take today and make it a great day.